Hey everyone, welcome to another video. And today I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of a little game called Outlast? Of course you have. But if you're the one person in the audience who hasn't, you're weird. And also, it doesn't really matter for this video. But to summarize, it's a horror game with big scary guys who chase you like, we have here Chris Walker or even Richard Trager. Now, back on track. The main question that I, your lovely host, Batman in a Chair, will be answering is, would Batman survive Outlast? Let's get into it. So, in this video, I will not be evaluating every single chase sequence in the game, mainly for my sake, but whatever. The ones I will not be looking at are ones with basically just regular lunatics chasing you, like, the basic people that you would see all throughout the asylum. Batman will not have his comms, since in the game it is stated that, all radio signals were jammed a few miles back. So, he's not going to be talking to Alfred. And also, since Batman would, he will be having his utility belt. Because he's Batman! Anyways, let's get into it. One of the major parts of Outlast and its gameplay is the fact that it is really, really, really dark. So, you think Batman would struggle with this, right? Wrong! Batman would most likely have some sort of night vision in his cowl, and I mean, he does thrive in the darkness. This was just something I wanted to say. And actually, real quickly, you know what? Let's talk about... I know I said that I wouldn't talk about these ones, but hear me out. They are normal motherfuckers who would not stand a chance against Batman. Even a group of them wouldn't. Like, they would all be unconscious probably within a minute if they tried fighting him. So, yeah, they're basically no problem for Batman. And this part's off script, but I just wanted to talk about this because it's like, the footage you're seeing, there's like 3 guys chasing you. Batman would not run. Batman would just turn and just go, like, to be like, oh, I want my money. Boom. Done. Dead. Not dead. Unconscious. Whatever. Boom. Easy. So, yeah, I just figured I'd talk about that real quickly. So, yeah. Before, the actual first chase, you kind of open this door, go in, and, you get blown through a window and have to navigate through the darkness to escape Chris. So, how would Batman have dealt with this? While I'll say him, running and getting blown out the window could happen, the darkness room would be a little bit different. See, Batman would have night vision, plus he could either, A, use something in his belt that he would normally use on Bane, to take Chris Walker out, or B, just grapple to the exit and leave. Because it's like on a walkway, so you can just grapple up there. Boom. Simple enough. This next encounter is the one where you have to, drain all the water and, go down the ladder. And since this area isn't, as dark, I feel like Batman, he would probably, instead of just hiding and trying to sneak around, he'd probably hide in one of the very few dark spots to, take Walker down. with, like I said earlier, something that would take Bane down. So something maybe like a nerve toxin or anesthetic gas. And while, Chris is kind of knocked out, Batman could easily just turn both of the valves and leave. Easy. So, this next area, you're in the sewers, and it's a massive area with a large amount of water that you have to walk through. It's like knee deep water, and the water obviously would slow you down. So you'd think that Batman would struggle with this, right? I mean, maybe a little more than usual, but I feel like that with his experience, fighting people like Killer Croc, especially in the sewers, I feel like this wouldn't give Batman too much trouble, especially with all of his skills, experience fighting Croc and all that, and also just his gadgets and resourcefulness in general. So, I feel like he would survive this. This one is a lot different because Traeger really isn't as strong as Chris Walker, and I doubt that Batman would have even gotten into that elevator thing to even meet Traeger, let alone get punched enough to stun him long enough to be strapped in the wheelchair, and he could probably break out of the wheelchair and take Traeger down. But you know what? Just to make my job a lot easier rather than having to explain how he would have gotten into the situation, let's just say that Batman starts off in the bathroom where Traeger would cut off Miles's fingers. Obviously, Batman will break out of the chair probably a lot faster than Miles, and then he would make his escape. He would climb through the air vent when suddenly Traeger comes to the door and charges at Batman with his large ass scissors. So, what would Batman do? Well, in the main game, you obviously, run around him, juke him, try and get him into a room, and you push the thing out of the way, correct? Well, Batman would most likely just disarm Traeger in like a few seconds and then basically just instantly knock him out with pretty much no issue. Um, Batman would then like probably just take away the scissors and tie up Traeger in order to prevent him from hurting the other patients. The patients that he has all around his weird area. He would most likely just tie him up to prevent him from hurting them. Well, then he can just carry on as normal and get the key with literally no issues, and even take the elevator down to the outside area. Basically, since Traeger isn't there to, die and get stuck in the elevator, therefore, even Traeger would actually survive. So, I mean, he did save a life. In the next encounter, we have to turn on the sprinkler system to, extinguish some fires. But of course, Chris Walker has to be there. So, again, what would Batman do? Well, like I said earlier, nerve toxin or anesthetic gas to subdue him. Or, knock him out. Or he could even use the darkness, because this area is pretty dark. He could use the darkness to his benefit and just hide in the shadows. You could choose which one. But yeah, Batman would most likely just easily survive this area. Wouldn't be even a challenge. Alright, I'm grouping the next two together since not only are they basically back to back, but they're also like really similar. So these ones are also really simple. In fact, he doesn't even need to like actually try and fight Chris Walker. Basically, since it's so dark outside, Batman can easily just use the darkness to like sneak around Chris Walker in the first one. And in the second one, it's literally the same, but he could also just grapple up on top of the one thing. It's like, it's got like a roof, whatever. It's like in the center of the yard, whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but he could just grapple up there and then just, you know, run away when the time is right. I guess. He doesn't have to fight Chris Walker. In fact, he probably wouldn't, because Batman at that point, and this is off script, like way off script, but I feel like Batman would just know, like, hey, this is there's like, he's gonna keep getting back up no matter how many times I knock him out or whatever. He's gonna keep coming for me. So basically, I will just run away from him, and then he'll come after me later, and I can deal with him then. So I mean, is that really how Batman would think? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not qualified to speak on that. But you know what? It's what I think. It's my opinion. And yeah. So here's a little bonus. You remember that one section where Miles, drops his camera and has to navigate the darkness to find it? Yeah, if this was Batman, that section would not exist, because Batman's night vision is in his cowl. So even if he almost fell due to the weak planks, he wouldn't have dropped anything. So yeah. Or, you could say that he dropped his utility belt, or like his utility belt fell down somehow. I don't know. I'm just trying to make it so where it's like, oh yeah, this section could have happened if it was Batman, but it most likely wouldn't have. Okay, this is gonna be off script, but another easy encounter for Batman is this next one, because all he really has to do is just take Chris down, or hide in the darkness, or escape, or just, like, juke the fuck out of him. It's pretty easy. And this is where it goes off script, because chase number 7 is literally the exact same thing. It's just might be a little easier because he has a little more space, but it's literally the almost the exact same. Just a long hallway with 2 doors that you juke the fuck out of Chris, or he could just take him down. I don't know. I don't know. I'd split these up, but I feel like that whole transition thing would have been pointless with these sections. So whatever. So here, Batman would most likely run away from the Wall Rider, and I also actually wouldn't be that surprised if he did get caught off guard by Chris Walker, and maybe even nearly dying. But the Wall Rider, just like in the actual game, would most likely end up killing Chris Walker, and Batman would just have to watch, helpless to do anything, and he would eventually probably just run away. So now you could be sitting there asking, why would he save Chris Walker? Because that's still a human life, and Batman doesn't like killing, so I feel like he would almost try and do anything to save Chris Walker, but nope, it just wasn't gonna happen. So, I figured I would group all of the lab together, for my sake. So, obviously, Batman would talk to Dr. Wernicke for answers, and when finding out that the Wall Rider isn't actually a ghost, but instead a bunch of nanomachines, he gets an idea. And he does everything Miles does, and when, he gets to the area where he jumps, but then gets caught by the Wall Rider and then is gonna be dropped, instead of, hitting the ground like he did, he actually uses his grapple to land safely. And after that, he runs to the morphogenic engine, but doesn't press the button, but instead breaks the glass and ends up freeing Billy, because that would have gone against his, no kill rule. Um So he does that, and when the Wall Rider still attacks him, instead of, just taking it like a little pussy, like what Miles did, Batman instead uses an EMP grenade that he has in his belt to basically shut down the nanomachines and preventing the Wall Rider from doing more damage. Then, as they leave, obviously the Murkoff team is about to gun Batman down. However, Batman rushes towards them, and all the bullets don't really do anything due to, obviously, his armor that Batman wears. And Batman just takes them all down like he normally would with a group of armed thugs and survives the night. So, in my opinion, yes, I do believe that Batman would have survived Outlast. Now, just remember, this was all my own opinion, so you might think otherwise, and I'm not gonna, argue against you, but whatever. But anyways, what do you think? Comment down below, and thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And before I go, yes, Batman most likely wouldn't have even gone into the asylum in the first place, but I needed content, so yeah, I'll see y'all later. And bye.